Hello, my name is Zarif, and I'll answer the following question. How has globalization influenced the political economy of China? Explain with reference to the systems that compromise a nation's political economy. What challenges might the legal system of China present for an Australian firm considering establishing a presence in there? So, the impact of globalization on China's political economy. To begin with, globalization has played a significant role in transforming China's political economy. Since the opening door policy in 1978, China has embraced the global trade by focusing on manufacturing, which gave it a comparative advantage. China has leveraged its low-cost labor and abundant resources to dominate industries like electronics, textiles, and machinery. This economic growth has been tremendous, turning China into what is often referred to as the factory of the world. According to comparative advantage theory, countries benefit from specializing in industries where they are most efficient. For China, this specialization has allowed it to become a global manufacturing hub. In addition to economic growth, hegemonic strate- hegemonic stability theory suggests that as China's economy dominance expanded, so did its political influence. The Communist Party strengthened its control both domestically and internationally, further solidifying its power. Now, um, theoretical framework for China's economic strategy. Let's look at the theoretical framework behind China's economic strategy. Mercantilism is central to China's approach, where the government actively maintains a trade surplus through tariffs, subsidies, and foreign exchange controls. This strong government intervention ensures that domestic industries remain competitive and allow China to accumulate foreign reserves. Now, the state-owned enterprises or SOEs also play a critical role. Guided by economic structuralism, SOEs dominate key industries such as energy, telecommunications, and infrastructure. These enterprises are instrumental in implementing governmental policies, ensuring that economic stability and national security objectives are achieved. Now, finally, we have the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, a major example of new trade theory in action. Through BRI, China invests heavily in infrastructure projects across Asia, Africa, and Europe, expanding its market and creating economies of scale. This initiative helps China integrate further into the global economy, while also strengthening its geopolitical influences. Now, legal and regulatory challenges for Australian firm. However, while China's economic strategies have both growth and influence, they also present challenges for foreign firms, particularly those from Australia. China's legal system is a complex blend of socialist law and civil law, making it difficult for foreign businesses to navigate. According to institutional theory, firms must adapt to the local institutional environment to successfully operate in foreign markets. For Australian firms, this means grappling with unpredictable regulatory enforcement and administrative hurdles. One major issue is intellectual property IP protection. Although China has improved its IP law over time, new institutional economics explains that weak enforcement remains a problem, increasing transaction costs and risks for foreign companies. IP theft and inconsistent enforcement of IP rights can create significant challenges for Australian firms operating in China. Lastly, to overcome these challenges, many Australian firms rely on joint ventures with local partners to navigate China's regulatory landscape. Transactional cost economics theory supports this approach, as joint ventures can reduce the costs associated with regulatory compliances and legal uncertainties by leveraging local enterprises. In conclusion, globalization has greatly influenced China's political economy, transforming it into global economic power. However, the Australian firms considering expansion in China's navigating the legal and regulatory landscape remains a challenge. Through joint ventures and adapting to local institutional frameworks, firms can mitigate this risk and capitalize the opportunities that China's economy presents? Thank you.
Hi, teacher. This is our video presentation. So my point is for the question 2. So let's start. In this topic, we want to talk about China's economic development and human development. So I want to start with economic development. So in this part, I want to divide it into 2 points. The first one is GDP. The second one is income inequality. So let's start. So GDP, China is the second largest economy in the world, with GDP is approximately 17.7 trillion US dollars in 2023. China's GDP has steadily risen, reaching around 12,000 US dollars in recent years. The country has transitioned from an agriculture economic to an industry economic, with high growth rates over the past few decades. Although the recent slowdown in growth, the economy still passed growth rates around 5.2% in 2023. The second is income inequality. China had a Gini coefficient of approximately 0.465, indicating moderate to high income inequality. Urban areas such as Beijing and Shanghai are highly developed. Rural areas are behind, leading to a gap between income and access to service. So this is economic development. So let's move. The second one is human development. Firstly, I want to talk about HDI. China's HDI stands at 0.788 in 2022, could be seen as a country with a high human development. This measure incorporates life expectancy, education, and income levels. Over the past 2 decades, China has made remarkable progress in improving healthcare and education. It contributes to raising HDI score. The second one I want to talk about is self-expectancy. China life expectancy has steadily increased to around 78 years in 2023. Public health reforms and better access to the healthcare have been significant factors. However, compared to rural area, the quality of healthcare in urban center is more higher. So the third is income per person. So despite the rise in GDP, China's income per person is around 12,000 US dollars, remains below that many developed countries. However, the rise in income levels has contributed to a growing middle class, boosting consumption and domestic demand. So, what matter is most important for Australian firm? So, in my opinion, I think the economic development could be the most important. So, for an Australian firm, consider establishing a presence in China. The economic development indicators, especially the GDP growth and the market potential, are likely the greater importance. China's huge market size and larger population are huge attraction for foreigner companies. Australian business, particularly in some consumer goods, technology, and retailers, can benefit from this large and increasing customer base. GDP growth means there have an increase in customer demand. Although the growth have a slowdown, annual growth of around 5% still suggests that economic remains strong. It is really important for Australian business want to expand their business. So China is a good place for Australian firm. So I think, in my opinion, it have need to have a princess. So thank you. That's all finished.
Hello, teacher. I'm Heng Xu. I will going to talk about the cultural distance between the China and Australia. The first, it's Houston's cultural distance dimensions, which increased. The first is individual relations and collective relation, and second is musculature and feminator, and the third one is indulgence and the restraint, and long-term the orientation and the short-term the alteration. And the first is individual's lesson and collective lessons. China is a collective lessons because China exposes a group of humans or families loyalty to the group, the social relations and the communications are good over the individual's attachment. Australia is a highly individual's attachment because Australia pay more the education to the individual's freedom, self-reliance of and individual's rights. So Australia will pay more education to the individual's achievement and do not pay success adaptations to the quality of the increased and social relations. And the second one is the musculature and feminated. China is a Chinese maculated. It's able age values achievement and success, and also it's a social human. And Australia is a similar reduced to the China, value achievement and success, but the personal life and happiness are also very important. And the third one is indigence restraint. China is a restraint because China is a social, it's more inclined to the controls that the set fluctuations of the district and adhere to strict social normal. And Australia is indigenous because Australia values increase freedom and the country of the enjoy the life. And the last one is a long-term alteration and short-term alteration. China is more inclined to the long-term alterations because China is more focused and futures written. Australia is a short-term alterations. Australia is more reflectors alterations of the field social observations. And we can see the pictures to think China and Australia who is better. And the second one, I will introduce the Edward to health. The China is a high contact culture. Australia is a low contact culture, and we can see the picture. And because first, China is a high contact culture because China communication is increased. Many means come to from the contact. Chinese cultural values humans, faith, and communication. Australia is a contact culture because Australia like decrease the communications, clean the information, and respected expensive of the openness. And there are some similarities between Australia and China. For example, Chinese students to go to studies in Australia and Australian students to go to study in China. And the last one is conclusion. The conclusion is despite of the convergence of consumer behavior and lifestyles caused by global the control values and the communication style of China and Australia are still the quickly different. The hostess dimensions highlight singularity, different and innovated power distance, and the long-term alterations will hide the communication from the work. The highlight the context between the high contact and low contact communication. Yes, thank you, Lisa.
We are now going to look at what industries China should specialize in. To do this, we are going to use two theories. The first is absolute advantage and the second is comparative advantage. The first theory of absolute advantage was created by Adam Smith. He believed a country should specialize in the production of a good if they have an absolute advantage and can produce it more efficiently than other countries. We will use this to look at two industries China has absolute advantage of. The first industry is the low-cost manufacturing industry like textiles. China's industrial value reached a staggering $5.9 trillion in 2017. They have been steadily increasing their global dominance in the manufacturing industry over the previous decades. In 1990, China accounted for 2.7% of the world's manufacturing industry, ranking 9th in the world. However, this increased to around 19.8% of global manufacturing in 2010, making them the best in the world at low-cost manufacturing. This is clear evidence that China has an absolute advantage over the rest of the world when it comes to the production of low-cost manufacturing. The second industry is telecommunications. China has produced 1.4 billion smartphones up to November of 2023, making them one of the leading suppliers in smartphones around the world. In 2022, there were around 286 million units of smartphones shipped internationally from China. This was accomplished by the access to cheap labour and easier access to a lot of raw materials needed to make these products. This is also seen with Huawei being the first phone company worldwide to launch a fully supported 5G network, boasting innovation in the industry as well as the domination of production. The second theory is comparative advantage. This is David Ricardo's theory, and it argues that even if a country does not have an absolute advantage, it can still benefit from specialization in areas where it has lower opportunity cost. The first industry China should specialize in, according to David Ricardo's theory, is green energy, especially in production of solar panels. Although other countries may have an advantage in research and development of renewable energy, China has comparative advantage in the production of these technologies, in both effectiveness and efficiency. This is shown by China investing over $50 billion in new solar panel supply capacity, which is 10 times more than Europe. This is translated into production, with China's share in the production of all stages of solar panels exceeding 80% worldwide. This huge comparative advantage in the solar panel industry proves that although their research and development of green energy is not the best in the world, their production is. The second industry is electric cars. China's production in electric cars is an early but rapidly growing industry. Although they were not the first to enter the industry, with many companies like US companies like Tesla being early adopters, China is making rapid advances in the production of electric vehicles. Compared to other countries, China is projected to have the highest revenue in electric vehicles in 2024, with a projection of $376.4 billion US. This has been accomplished at a fast rate. In 2022, China produced around 5.47 million electric vehicles, which is an increase of 85.8% compared to 2020. Plug-in hybrids have also increased in production by 164.2% in the same years. However, compared to other countries, this is a huge advantage, with over 60% of new electric cars being registered from China. This shows that China has an early but huge comparative advantage in the production of electric cars. So which theory should China follow? China should follow David Ricardo's theory of comparative advantage when it comes to international trade. This is because China has a highly adaptable manufacturing and infrastructure developed, which means that although they may not be leading innovators in some industries, they are able to have a naturally big comparative advantage when it comes to the manufacturing of different types of products, for example green energy like solar panels and electric cars. This, paired with easier access to all the raw materials needed to produce these goods, will help reduce costs and time and give China a bigger comparative advantage. With the world mentality shifting towards green energy and greener ways to travel, this gives great opportunity for China to capitalize and be the leading producer in these markets as the world looks to buy these goods for as cheap as possible.
Hello, teacher. My name is Chen Yingma. I will talk about the Chinese trade policy. The main trade policy tools currently used by the Chinese government include tariffs, import quotas, export subsidies, and no-water barriers. Each of these instruments has different supporting theories in international trade theory. First, let's talk about the tariffs. The tariffs are taxes on important goods that raise the price of goods to protect domestic firms from fair competition. Second, the important quota is the limit of quantity of goods that can be imported, which protects the domestic market from foreign competition. Third, export subsidy refers to the government's financial subsidy to export companies so as to reduce the price of exports and improve its competitiveness in the international market. And then, non-tariff barriers refer to trade restriction other than tariffs, which can restrict the entry of imported goods by establishing complex restrictions and standards. And then, let's talk about the international trade theory. The first is theory of protectionism. This theory holds that countries protect their interests from foreign competition by imposing measures such as tariffs and import quotas. And in the real life, China's leading position in the field of NEV stems from the competitive advantages and is in line with market law that prescribe a more efficient global allocation of resources. And the third is theory of competitive advantages. The theory of competitive advantages suggests that countries should focus on producing goods in which they have a competitive advantage, thereby achieving the optimal allocation of resources through international trade. And also in the real life, the competitive advantage of cheap labor may only persist at the cost of keeping labor productivity low and the national economic weak. And the last is the theory of development economics. Development economics theory emphasizes that government intervention can help developing countries enhance industrial capacity and economic growth. And in the real life, we can see in less than 70 years, China has rapidly risen from a backward country to a modern one, with remarkable economic development and social stability. And in our life, we can see a lot of examples from for these three, such as tariff. The tariff can show of China imports high tariff on imported cars to protect its domestic auto manufacturing industry and promotes the competitiveness of domestic auto brands. And the example of import quotas can show that China has imposed import quotas on certain food products to limit the market share of foreign products, thereby protecting the industries of its own farmer and food producers. And the last, export subsidies can show of the Chinese government provides subsidies for export photovoltaic products, which reduce the international prices of these products and help Chinese photovoltaic companies gain a competitive advantage in the global market. And as a result, the use of these trade policy tools has helped China achieve remarkable results in protecting its domestic market, promoting the development of specific industries, and enhancing its international competitiveness, while also supporting China's strategic position on the global economic. That's all. This is our group for this video presentation. Thank you very much.